everybody, it's your boy C Sams and this is the Infinity Watch. It is my job to get you ready for the upcoming movie that was supposed to drop in May, but now it's been pushed up to April, Avengers Infinity War. Now, we are deep into phase 3. I'm so excited. We're getting into a movie where we did not even think it was even possible. This movie came out back in the 1970s, I believe, and it was really low budget. It was called Doctor Strange. But we got a nice little revamp of the character, and now we're just jumping right into it. Doctor Strange is here in the Marvel Universe. I love how Marvel dropped the hints and the bombs that Doctor Strange was going to be coming to the big screen. We saw this in Captain America Winter Soldier, where that shady double-crossing agent was basically shouting out names that Insight was looking into. One of those names, Stephen Strange. Man, Marvel knows exactly what they're doing. But we're not talking about Winter Soldier. I already did Winter Soldier. Today, we are going to be talking about Doctor Strange. And we're going to get into it, and we're going to focus on why this movie was actually important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And by the end of this movie, and by the end of this video, you're going to see just how Doctor Strange was justified. We open the movie in Commentage. We see the library and the librarian in Commentage. We see Mads Mikkelsen's character, Caecilius, and his goons stepping in, and he beheads the librarian. Pretty gruesome. What a way to start off this movie. Now, he's getting into the library and he rips out a page from one of the books. Now, as he's running out, the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, she actually steps in and tries to stop Caecilius. But Caecilius is a little bit has too much power for her, and his goons has a little bit too much power as well. They're able to escape. And that's pretty much how we start this movie. Now, we meet Stephen Strange. Well, Dr. Stephen Strange. He's getting ready to perform a procedure, something that is very, very difficult for modern doctors to do. But for him, he's so cocky and he's so confident in his skill, he just goes ahead and does what he has to do. Now, while he's doing that, he's playing this game, and he's playing this music, and he looks like that he's not even concerned because he knows he got it down pat. Now, he's talking to this nurse or his girlfriend or his friend, what Rachel Adams' character is supposed to play. Her name is Christine. So basically, they are talking back and forth, and there's a scene in the movie where she asks Doctor Strange or Stephen Strange to pretty much help her with this this case, and this other doctor can't do it. Not really important. Let's move past it. Now, we're going to see what's going to happen to Stephen Strange. Now, Stephen Strange is talking to this guy on the phone, and he's on his way to receive some reward. He's in this very nice sports car. He's driving and everything like that. He's not paying attention to the road, and as a result of him not paying attention to the road, he ends up getting into an accident. I love how Marvel took the time to show exactly what happened to Stephen Strange and his hands. Stephen Strange's hands is sitting there on the steering wheel, and as the car is coming to a crash, you see the inside of the car crushing into his hands. At the end of it, he wakes up in a hospital and his needles all in his hands. The doctors tried their best to try to salvage his hands so that way they didn't have to amputate it. But Doctor Strange is so cocky, he said that he could have done a better job. Now, we see a couple of montages that pretty much shows Doctor Strange trying to get his use of his hands back, and he's just not able to do so. He talks to this therapist, and the therapist is telling him about a guy who was able to walk after he was told that he had a spinal injury to where he will never be able to walk again. Doctor Strange doesn't believe him, so the guy says pretty much, I'll get you the file and I'll show you yourself. If it proves your narrating as wrong, I will do it. Well, that's all you need to know about that part. Now, we get back to Commentage. Commentage, we're having an issue because of the fact that one of the pages are missing from this book out of the Ancient One's library. We see Mordu. Mordu is trying to talk to the Ancient One. She would tell Ezefort, trying to talk to the Ancient One to pretty much say, hey, listen, we need to get Caecilius, or we need to get this thing back, because if he unlocks it, Dormammu is going to be able to get into this world. Who's Dormammu? Well, let's take a look. Dormammu is a character, is a pretty much an Ancient One, or you could call it the Sorcerer Supreme in some cases. You can also call it a Celestial. You could also call it Elder of the Universe. But basically, Dormammu is a character who lives outside of the boundaries of time and space. He is from the dark dimension. And while he's in this dark dimension, he is feeding off the fears and the damage of this dark dimension. What he does, he opens up dimensions, feeds on a world, take all the natural resources, and goes back to his dark domain. Now he has followers found in Caecilius, and the followers, they have this symbol in their forehead to say that they're following Dormammu because he uses the dark energy. What we don't know is that the Ancient One has dabbled into that dark energy as well. Now, back to present time. Basically, Doctor Strange gets the file. Everybody has said no to the procedures to try to help him get his hands back. Nobody wants to mess up their reputation. So he gets a file from the same therapist that he was bad-mouthing and everything. He finds out who's the guy that had the issue, who was able to walk again. He finds this guy playing basketball. He goes up to him and says, "Hey man, how you get your legs back?" He pretty much said, "Yo, listen, this is what you got to do. You got to go to a place called Commentage. It's somewhere far." He uses all his money. He gets to Commentage, and while he's in Commentage, he's about to get jumped for his watch. Now, pay attention because there's a lot of watches in this particular movie, a lot of timepieces being shown in this movie. I like how they're hinting to what we already know. So, Mordu comes through, beats up the rest of the guys, and brings him to the Ancient One. He thinks that a little ancient man is the Ancient One, but Tilda Swinton walks in and she is the Ancient One. She pretty much takes him out of the astral sphere, takes his body out of the astral sphere, and this whole entire sequence to where he's going all over the place, he's bouncing all over the place, and that is just insane graphics. Insane graphics. This movie was probably one of the most graphic movie that Marvel has ever put to film. So he finally comes back into the real world. He says, "Teach me." And she says no. So he's outside, he's sitting there. A couple hours later, he's able to come back in. Now, during this time, Caecilius is learning how to open up the realms and open up and use the dark energy to manipulate time and space. So he's learning how to do these things from the insert, but he should have took the entire book. Now, finally, Doctor Strange is about to start his quest to becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. So, after a couple of, we don't know if it was days, weeks, or months, but he's learning how to use the power. He's learning how to open up dimensions. He's learning how to do that thing with the hands and everything like that. He's learning how to do these things. Now, he's very quick on learning because of the type of person that he is. He's a doctor. He studied 2 doctorates at the same time. He's able to retain information and able to use it. So that's exactly what he did. So now, he's finally able to use the powers to manipulate time and space. Caecilius puts his plans into action and he attacks the London Sanctum. Now, when he gets to the London Sanctum, he ends up blowing it up. Now, while he's blowing it up and everything like that, there is a part in the movie where you see Doctor Strange using the Eye of Agamotto. The Eye of Agamotto is the time stone. He ends up learning how to use it, and he learns how to bring an apple to life and to decay the same apple. After that whole part is continued and done, pretty much that's when Caecilius plans his attack. He blows up the London Sanctum and he heads to New York. Now, while he's in New York, Doctor Strange is also in New York. He sees the Cloak of Levitation. Somehow a little scuffle happens, the Cloak of Levitation breaks out, comes onto Doctor Strange. Now, this entire scene is happening, and which is pretty cool, where there is a astral fight while Doctor Strange is on a table because he got stabbed during this fight. Rachel McAdams' character is actually there to try to bring him back to life and everything like that. And while she's trying to keep him alive, he's fighting one of the goons in the background. Pretty wicked scene, pretty cool scene. So at the end of this scene, he pretty much says, "Listen, I gotta stop this guy from destroying the world. I know now what I have to do." He goes back to the New York Sanctum. Mordu is there. Mordu says, "Oh my gosh, the Cloak of Levitation came to you." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. Now I have to, what are we gonna do next?" He said, "Well, we gotta fight Caecilius." Doctor Strange says, "Listen, all I want to do is get my hands fixed. I don't want to fight nobody." And Mordu says, "No, you gotta fight with us. That's the whole point. You gotta fight with us." He's like, "No, I don't want to fight with you guys." Well, as we see at the end of this movie, he ends up fighting with him. Now, there is a scene where the dark energy is now revealed because of the fact they're running away from Caecilius. While running away from Caecilius, the Ancient One reveals that she has been using dark matter for centuries to keep her youth. And during this scene, there is a fight that happens. Caecilius kicks the Ancient One through one of these portals, and this was one of the most gruesome scenes I have ever seen in the Marvel universe. I shouldn't be smiling, but she came through, blasted through this arter or whatever, or the ceiling, whatever you want to call it, and then boom, she hits the ground. That was such a graphic scene. I was like, ooh, that looked bad. So they get to the hospital. The Ancient One decides that she's going to die. She's going to give over the throne of the Ancient One to someone else, or the Sorcerer Supreme to someone else. And Doctor Strange is right there talking to her. They're having a conversation in the astral field while there is a strike of lightning going across the sky. This image was brilliant. Brilliant. Now, we get into the end of this movie. We're now at the Hong Kong Sanctum. Now, in the Hong Kong Sanctum, we see Wong. Wong is the new librarian for the Ancient One of Kamar-Taj. So as he's there, he's preparing his forces to fight Kaecilius. By the time Doctor Strange and Mordo gets there, Kaecilius already destroyed the Sanctum. And as you're seeing from above, the dark energy and Dormammu is starting to come into the world. So Doctor Strange has the Eye of Agamotto around his neck. He tries something. He pretty much activates the Eye of Agamotto, the Time Stone, and he ends up reversing time. As he's reversing time, he's able to take other people out of that reversing time and bring them back into present time. So as they're moving forward, everything is moving in reverse. So as everything is moving in reverse, Kaecilius is able to break that spell, and they are fighting in real time while the background is in reverse. What? Now, we end up getting closer to the end of the movie. There is a part of the movie where Doctor Strange realized what he has to do. Instead of fighting this guy, Kaecilius, he has to go to the actual villain of the movie, which is Dormammu. So he ends up flying over to the dark energy, into the dark world, the dark dimension, and gets to Dormammu. He comes out and he says, Dormammu, I've come here to bargain. And we see one of the most funniest, one of the most clever ways of a villain being defeated in the Marvel Universe. We see a repeat of the same thing. I'll show you.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain. 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 Dormammu, Dormammu, Dormammu.
Yeah, pretty much. So Dormammu is stuck in a repeat. Now we hear Mordo tell that to Doctor Strange, do you want to be stuck in the same moment over and over again for eternity? So because of the fact that he learned that, he was able to trap Dormammu in the same thing. As he kills Doctor Strange come back and says the same thing. And the bargain that he makes is that he takes Kaecilius and his people and they leave the Earth and they stay away from the Earth. So that's exactly what he ends up doing. Mordo is there. He sees all this for himself. Dormammu takes back Kaecilius and they're gone. And that's the end of the threat. Now, at the end of this movie, the Eye of Agamotto is put back and Wong comes through and says, yes, that's very wise not to walk around with an Infinity Stone. He says, an Infinity what? And he didn't even know that there was an Infinity Stone in there. That's how the Infinity Stone worked, and that's how the Time Stone worked. And at the end, he said, you know what? There needs to be a Sorcerer Supreme, because there are going to be other forces that hears that there's no Sorcerer Supreme, and that means the Earth is going to be in trouble. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. The movie ends with that note, and I am so excited on how this movie ended. We see a couple of end credit scenes. We see Thor and Doctor Strange talking, which leads into Thor Ragnarok. We also see Mordo walking around, and he takes back the energy or the power that the guy who was talking to Doctor Strange at the basketball court, he takes back his power and puts him back into paralysis. And he says something at the end of it, I finally realized what's wrong with the world. Too many sorcerers. At the end of the movie, Mordo pretty much says, I'm not going to follow this path because the Ancient One has been lying to me the entire time. So I can't follow this path no more. And he goes about his business. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Like I said, Doctor Strange was a by-the-numbers Marvel movie. You had your villain, you had your hero, you had your hero story, and you had your supporting cast. And I thought the movie was just as it was. It was just as good as Iron Man as far as an origin story, but it shows that Marvel has really taken liberties with their origins and they have really expanded them. I think this movie was pretty good. I think they did a great job. That's pretty much it. Well, Doctor Strange, I hope you guys got a chance to understand just how important Doctor Strange is. We see the Time Stone for the first time, and we see how it's in Infinity Stones. This movie did a great job introducing the character, and we know just how powerful Doctor Strange is going to be just based on what he was able to do in this movie. So I hope you see that, and I hope you realize just how much Doctor Strange was justified. Once again, this is the Infinity Watch. This is That Comic Show. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us. We're everywhere. This is your boy C. Sam's. Sam's out.